That's right there. So let's do them and get them out of the way. Remember now, the hepatic portal serves the digestive structures and the other viscera within the abdominal cavity.
Okay.
And they're represented in yellow because they wanted us to see them. So if you look at the little diagram there, you will see, if you open up your small intestine, you'll see these yellow thingy in the mesentery. Those are all veins, by the way. I noticed some people today, they didn't put veins on it because I think they don't know if it's veins or arteries. These are all veins. See the red ones there? Those are the arteries. They are in yellow because they have the nutrients in them. So in addition to the CO2, they also have nutrients. They're going to leave the nutrients at the liver.
Okay.
And so when they come out on this side, they're going to be blue because the nutrients are drop off. So here goes. So all these gather to make this big one right here called the superior mesentery vein. Now the duodenum, that C-shaped part of the small intestine, there's the pancreas that's laying in that part. So the duodenum and the pancreas is served by two smaller vessels. This little one here called the inferior pancreatico-duodenum and duodenal vein, and it empties into the superior mesentery right there. And then this one up here, that's the superior pancreatico-duodenum. It got busted, but it enters into, this is where it entered, into the hepatic portal. So these two, if I wanted to trace from my duodenum or from my pancreas, I would use one of these two vessels. And if I use the inferior, it would empty into the superior mesentery, and if I use the superior one, it would empty into the hepatic portal. So where's the diagram? Can you see, you follow?
We're here.
Okay, so that's what it's showing there.
Yes, there's that one.
Is this, I guess, is
That
this
one,
the superior mesentery as well?
Yeah,
This one, this whole thing?
yes, that whole, yeah,
Okay.
that whole thing. So here's the duodenum part, and there's the pancreatico. You have a top one and a bottom one. This is kind of misleading because the top one should have been going to the hepatic portal directly, and the bottom one should be emptying down here.
Like this
So
one
that's
here.
the better diagram there.
This one.
Mm-hmm. All right, but those are tiny, so let's move along. So over here you have another big trunk, and actually it arises from two vessels, this one right here and that one right there. So these Y makes this trunk right here. The trunk is the gastrosplenic, and this Y takes you into the spleen. So this is the splenic, and this Y takes you into the stomach over here. So the gastric. So this chunk, this big piece here, is the gastrosplenic. The gastrosplenic meets up with the superior mesentery. Oh, forgot this one. This one that's running up the front of the large intestine, this is the large intestine. So this is the inferior mesentery, and it is supposed to empty also right here. It just got busted. It's supposed to empty into the superior mesentery. So if I was coming from the large intestine, I would take this one, inferior mesentery, and then I would go inferior mesentery vein, superior mesentery vein, hepatic portal vein, because I would have to empty into this one first. So I hope you see a pattern that the superior mesentery is kind of the big vein that collects from several places. Anyway, the superior mesentery meets with the gastrosplenic, and they form this big trunk right here. That's your hepatic portal. And your hepatic portal is going to go into the liver. See, it goes into the liver, that big trunk. And then it comes out over on this side. You have two, left and right, and it comes out blue. That's your hepatic vein. So the hepatic vein is void of the nutrients, and that's why it's blue.
There's a left and a right hepatic.
Yeah, this is the right one, and there's the left one over there. And then it dumps into, this is the inferior vena cava right there.
Okay.
So that's the story on the hepatic portal system. So now let's do our regular. I had this over here because it have that one looks pretty good. Oh, you do have a little one here. one is that? Okay, so let's do the red ones and then we'll do the blue ones. So for the red ones, starting at your diaphragm, that's your diaphragm. So coming through the diaphragm, you're going to have your abdominal aorta. That's that long piece coming down. And the first time it branch, it's a singleton. It doesn't have a pair. It's asymmetric, we call it. And it comes off, and that's your celiac artery. And it's going to be celiac until it branch. And the first time it branch is this one here. That go to the liver. It's the hepatic artery. So it's celiac only until it gets to that branch. And then the celiac continues as this long one, and it comes all the way to the spleen. So that's the splenic there. And it branches again. There's actually a couple branches off. That's going to the stomach over here. So this is the gastric artery, that red one there. And then the pancreatic artery are these little ones that they deliver to the pancreas. Now for tracing purposes, it's a good idea to know that the celiac delivers to these organs, but for pinning purposes, you just need to know the celiac. Then below it, there's another big one by itself, singleton. That's your superior mesentery artery. Now this yellow one was the vein, this red one is the artery. They both go to the small intestine. The red one brings stuff to the small intestine. The yellow one takes stuff from the small intestine. Come on down. Well, there's this little one. Usually we don't do it because it gets torn off. This little red one, that's the adrenal lumbar, so you can ignore it. Come on down. And the next one that you're really responsible for is this one, going into the kidney. That's the renal. And you have, this is the left renal, and here's the right renal over here. And then you're going to come on down. And the next one is the pair of gonadal or genital or testicular. In this case, it's testicular. And I know it's testicular because this, see, comes, if it was ovaries, it would going over there. It's testicular, it's coming down this way where the testes is. And it's a male anyway. Anyway, you notice there's a pair of them and they're pretty skinny. If we had a female, it probably would be a little larger because when they're pregnant, it's more vascular. So, but this is the what is this? The left and the right genital. And again, you have several names you can use. You can use genital, which is generic. You can use gonadal, which is also generic. You can say testicular if you want to be specific, or you can say ovarian if you want to be specific. They all are going to be taking blood to the gonads. Come on down, and you have a singleton, and this one got busted. So you can see it here. This singleton here. This is the gonadal. This is the singleton. This one is the inferior mesentery. And then you come on down and you have a pair. That's this one right here. Those are the iliolumbar. And the iliolumbar, and you have the artery, and it sits right beside the veins. You can see the blue ones nearby. This is one of the few places where they come together. Alright, come on down, and your abdominal aorta is going to split into two. And here is where the you'll notice I have a human version and the cat version. The human and the cat is the same until it gets to that V right there. So that's what that over there is telling you, and that's what this little one is showing you. So it's everything until you get to the V. When you get to the V in the cat, bring me one of Mr. Henry so I can show you in the human, or one of the flat. That flat one will do. This flat one. Just sit it across. Okay. Alright, so let's do the cat and then we'll compare it to the human. So here's a cat. when it branches, we're doing the red ones. When it branches, the first time it branched, that's the external iliac artery. And it's external iliac until it branches right here, and this branch is broken. Let's see if it's in here. Okay, you can see it. It's external iliac until it goes into the groin. This is the deep femoral. Right? And then beyond that, this is the femoral. And it's femoral until you get to the back of the knee. That's what my dotted line is. The popliteal. The popliteal goes into the knee and it comes back out again. So that's what I'm trying to show with that little diagram there. So it goes behind the knee and it can come back out and rejoin the vessel down here. In the human version, when it branches, see that? This portion looks just like the veins. You have an internal iliac going in, and then between this here and here is the common iliac. Now the cat doesn't have a common iliac. So this time you can really say the cat doesn't have one. The cat doesn't have a common iliac, instead it has an external iliac. Then for the cat, the abdominal aorta comes down and it branches a second time. So here is the second branch right there. And that's your internal iliac. And the internal iliac, then it continues again and it comes all the way down into the tail. That's your caudal artery. So this one here is your caudal artery. You can see it nicely there. Now for the human version, there's no second branching. This time the internal iliac is right there, and then after the internal iliac you have the external iliac, just like you have with the veins. And then this is deep femoral right here, and then you would have femoral afterwards. So the human veins and the human arteries are identical. The cat arteries are different. The cat veins look the same as the human veins. So the difference is in the arteries. Okay, so that's it for your red ones. Now for the blue ones. Again, we come through the diaphragm, and you have the long inferior vena cava coming down the center. And the first time we're responsible is for this branch here, and it's a little larger than the red one. That's the adrenal lumbar, and the adrenal gland would sit right here. So it would come and it would drain the adrenal gland. Lumbar also branches from there would go into the lumbar vertebrae area. Then your next branch, big one, is your right and left renal vein. And then notice with the genital vein, the left one, which is this one here, comes off the renal. Here it is again. While the right one, here it is, didn't take the dye, but there it is. Here it is again. The right one comes off directly off the inferior vena cava. So if I say trace a drop of blood from the right genital, or from the right gonads or whatever, you would say right gonad capillaries, then you'd say right gonad vein, then you would say inferior vena cava. If I say trace from the left one, you would say left gonad vein, left renal vein, inferior vena cava. So the pathway is different because you have to come into this before you come into that. Whereas for this one, you come straight into that. And that is true for humans and cats. Come on down, and the next time you have a branch is these ones that matches the iliolumbar down at the bottom, and then it branches into a Y, and I think you can see it a little better on this cat. So there the Y, and it's from the first time it branched to where it goes branching right here, kind of got busted there, but between here and here, that's the common iliac vein. And from right where it branches, this is the internal iliac going down in here. So this is the internal iliac. So between right here and here are common. Between here and going into the groin right there, so between right here and here, this piece right in here, that's external iliac. And then from here to the popliteal, this is the popliteal back here. So between here and here, that's femoral. So femoral is the longest piece. Now you'll see this piece that's sitting on here. It's going all the way to your toe. That's your greater saphenous vein. You'll notice a little skinny red one running beside it. That's your saphenous artery. Notice the size of the artery comparing to the vein. Because this is a surface vein, in fact you can see it along your leg there. Because it's a surface vessel, you can't afford to have such a big artery sitting so exposed. So if you notice the size of it, it's really skinny comparing to the vein. And so they call it saphenous artery, and they call the vein greater saphenous vein. Now if I wanted to come from my toe, I can take greater saphenous vein, and it empties into the femoral vein. The femoral empties into the external iliac. The external iliac empties into the common iliac. The common iliac empties into the inferior vena cava, which then takes me to the heart. I could also come from my toe, come up the greater saphenous, and then I'd meet popliteal, and then I could come through the knee. But that would be going out of my way, because the popliteal does come back and join with the saphenous. Okay. Here are the veins again. So between here and when it branches right there, this is the common iliac vein. Between, this is the internal iliac, this is the external iliac, this is deep femoral, and then this is femoral. And this is these are the vessels that people get killed if they get a stab or a gunshot, because it's very exposed right at the leg. So that's the femoral along here, and it's femoral until it converts into saphenous and popliteal. So femoral come all the way down to the knee, and then you have popliteal. This go back behind the knee and come oh, here's popliteal, come around and meet up again, and this is saphenous. So that's it for your vessel.